The night felt heavier than usual. I had been pacing the living room for hours, my hands trembling with a strange mix of anticipation and dread. The kids were asleep upstairs, their soft breaths barely audible, a cruel reminder of everything I thought was secure. And then she walked in, her face pale, eyes avoiding mine. "We need to talk," she said, her voice almost a whisper, but it hit me like a hammer. I sank into the couch, trying to steady my heartbeat. "What is it?" I asked, but the words felt hollow, inadequate. She shifted uncomfortably, biting her lip, glancing at the floor like a guilty child caught stealing candy. "It's about the kids," she began, and my stomach twisted. That single phrase carried a weight I couldn't yet define. My mind raced. Had something happened to them? Were they sick? Or worse? What about them? I demanded, my voice louder than intended. She looked up, tears brimming, and in that moment, I saw a crack in the woman I had loved for over a decade. I need to confess something. You might never forgive me." Her words struck me like lightning. I froze, my pulse hammering in my ears. "Confess what?" Her hands trembled as she clutched the edge of the table. "I haven't been honest. About everything. About us. About the kids." The room felt suddenly smaller, tighter, the walls closing in. My chest constricted. My thoughts scattered, a whirlwind of denial and fear. "What do you mean?" I managed, my voice barely audible. She swallowed hard. I had an affair. Years ago. I'm not sure the children are yours." The words slammed into me, each syllable a blade carving through the life I thought I knew. My mind seized, trying to reject them, to find a loophole, a mistake, anything that could make this not real. But the look in her eyes told me it was real. Horrifyingly real. I fell back on the couch, numb, my hands gripping my face as if I could physically hold back the betrayal. My body shook with rage and heartbreak, and tears, hot bitter tears, rolled down my cheeks. "Why? How could you even think?" I couldn't finish the sentence. Words failed me. She knelt beside me, her voice breaking. I was confused. I was weak. I never meant to hurt you. I tried to forget it, bury it. But now I can't lie anymore. I wanted to scream, to hit something, to make the pain tangible. But instead I felt hollow, as if all the air had been sucked out of my lungs. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't process. Every memory of the last 10 years, the laughter, the fights, the bedtime stories, the family dinners, twisted into a sickening lie. I need proof," I said finally, my voice eerily calm, though my hands shook violently. "I need to know for sure." She nodded slowly, tears streaming freely now. "I understand. And you'll get it. You have every right to know." The days that followed were a blur of suspicion and investigation. DNA tests, private conversations, silent arguments. The world around me seemed unreal, every laugh in the park, every hug from the children, every smile she offered, tainted. I watched her like a stranger, noting the subtle gestures I had once found comforting. Every glance, every movement, seemed loaded with secrets. When the results came back, my hands shook as I unfolded the envelope. The numbers confirmed the unthinkable. The children were not mine. The betrayal wasn't just emotional. It was existential. My life, my family, my identity as a father, all built on lies. I felt tears, fury, and grief all colliding at once, a chaotic storm that left me breathless. She entered the room then, her eyes wide, searching mine. "I'm so sorry. I never wanted it to be like this." I stood slowly, feeling every muscle in my body tighten, every nerve raw. "Sorry isn't enough," I said, my voice cold, distant. "You've taken more than trust. You've taken a part of me I can never get back." The weeks that followed were agonizing. Conversations were stilted. The house filled with a silence heavier than any shouting could have created. I questioned everything. My love, my judgment, the very foundation of my life. The grief was personal, intimate, gnawing at me from the inside. And yet, amidst the devastation, a strange clarity emerged. I realized I had a choice. crumble under the weight of betrayal, or find a way to reclaim myself. I began to rebuild in small ways. Walking through the park alone, watching the children from a distance, cherishing the moments without expectation. I learned to separate my love for them from the deceit of their mother, to protect the bond that was still mine to nurture. Each day was a battle, each night a test of endurance, but slowly I began to breathe again. And then one evening she tried to reach out. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the same guilt, the same fear I had seen before. But I also saw that my path forward no longer depended on her. "We can talk," I said finally. "But it won't be like before. I'm not the same man you thought I was." As she left the room, I sat quietly, listening to the night sounds outside. The world hadn't ended. My heart was fractured, yes, but it was still mine. And in the ruins of betrayal, I began to find the first glimmers of healing. I realized that the pain, as raw and unbearable as it was, had also given me a chance to reclaim my life, to define myself outside the lies. In the end, love, trust, and family weren't just about blood or vows. They were about choices. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could choose me again.